Dave Lawrence with you, and today I'm joined by one of the amazing guests on Carmine Appice's new Ultimate Guitar Zeus release. He's a distinguished guitarist, a songwriter, an artist really loved and admired by many people for both his talents and for his down-to-earth nature. It's a great thrill to welcome to the Workforce Afternoon the one and only Slash. Aloha, Slash.
Aloha, what's happening?
Welcome to the show, dude. Thanks for taking a few minutes.
No problem.
When and how did you first get to know Carmine Appice?
You know what? Carmine's one of those guys that's been around forever, and I think the first time I met him was at a drum clinic with Steve Adler when we were like 15 or 16 years old. And he didn't have any idea who we were, neither did we at that point. But that was the first time I met him, and I just got to know him over the years. You know, I bump into him here and there. So, I don't know, we just known each other a long time.
Yeah, it's sort of the way it is with a lot of people with him, especially because his band, you know, his history goes back to before Led Zeppelin really had even come here. So I'm always just curious because he seems to know everyone, and wherever I am with him, I saw the Cream show in New York with him last fall, and it's just like everybody seems to know him, and it's just, you know, when you look at the back of the Guitar Zeus record and you see all these other cats on there, it's just it's a crazy list of folks. The one that you're on is Where You Belong, and to my ears, and maybe it's just me, but it reminds me of a sort of like of a November Rain kind of production quality on that.
Right. It was released in Japan a long time ago, and it's just now being introduced in the States.
Yeah, it was one of those tracks. I'm familiar with how he didn't get these out in the United States, and there were a couple of different versions of it. And now he's sort of got what he's calling the Ultimate Guitar Zeus record. And the one that you're on is it's Kelly Keeling, Tony Franklin,
Yeah.
and then yourself. And so when you were recording with him, I get the feeling then you recorded more than one thing. You did a bunch of different things.
Well, I know I did the one, but I think I did more than one, but not like a handful or anything. I wasn't there long that day. I just came in and did a couple things, and then now. So I'm positive about the one, obviously. There might have been one other one, so I'm not sure.
Another recent guest appearance that you did that I've been fascinated by and curious just to hear a little bit about was you got to perform for the Queen of England, covering the Beatles with Ozzy.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was well worth the trip. I just got a phone call from Ozzy asking if I wanted to come out and do this thing, and you know I'm from England, so I was really honored to do it. And it was a big production, and it was a lot of work for sure. Because we went in, we rehearsed it, we did it early in the morning, we rehearsed it, and the gig itself was out in I'm trying to remember the name of where it was. Anyway, it was a good John from London, and so then there was an all-day event where we had to go in and do the sort of sound check type of deal and sort of dress rehearsal kind of thing, and we didn't play for hours and hours later. But it was interesting to actually meet the Queen, and I had my son with me.
Oh, cool.
So that was sort of cool.
Wow, that's really special.
The fact that the Queen knows who I was, that was what tripped me out.
So you got like a personal, how much time with Queen Elizabeth?
Oh, she just did this thing. It was called the Horseshoe, where there was a whole bunch of different. It was like a variety show, so it had every type of music and entertainment going on.
Yep.
Oh, there was about 50 different performers. So she got on stage and walked around this sort of horseshoe line of all these people lined up. And so we were on one end, we were at the tail end of the horseshoe. So imagine a huge arc, and she started at one end and made her way all the way around. It took about an hour and a half. And so I just met her for, briefly.
But you got to stand there in this horseshoe. It was like a receiving line, essentially.
Yeah, more or less.
And she went through it, and you had to stand there for an hour and a half, and you got to watch from her start on the one end of it and go all around, meeting other celebrities and other cats in this line like yourself. And then all the way at the end, it was you standing there with your family and the Osbournes?
It was Ozzy and Sharon and myself and Linda. London's my son.
That is, what a moment,
and
man.
I might have exaggerated. It might not have been an hour and a half. I don't want to say.
But it was a while.
It was a long time, though.
Yeah, I get it. and I can imagine. I mean, that's a stunning experience. Yeah, because I've heard from other people who've... my buddy John McDermott, who works at Experience Hendrix. Do you remember John?
Yeah.
I
know who you're talking about. The guy who does all the Jimmy stuff.
Yeah, he's like their writer, and he works for the estate and does some stuff.
I just did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with him.
Yeah, right, exactly. That. And you performed with Billy Cox and
Billy Cox and Mitch Mitchell.
right.
And
Steve Winwood and Corey Glover too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That must have been so cool to do and be a part of. And aren't you doing like a Zeppelin thing coming up too?
I'm actually doing a Led Zeppelin Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right now as we speak. So they're being inducted this year, so I'm introducing them.
Are you?
Yeah, well, I'm doing this thing on TV. I don't know exactly what I'm doing at the show. But.
Yeah, I'd heard you were doing the Zeppelin induction over there. That's wild. You're working on it right now. I wish you lots of luck on that project, Slash, and you've been very generous with your time. Keep in mind, we'd love to see you out here if you get a chance, and I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to be on my show.
Yeah, no, great. Thanks for having me.
He's in Velvet Revolver these days and is featured heavily on the Carmine Appice Project Guitar Zeus CD, and a great pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for talking to me, Slash.
Thanks, dude. I'll talk to you soon.